Hey, welcome back. So I'm here to do another video on this DECADE resistor. I did a video on this couple of videos back where I walked through this equipment and we did some testing, and I found out that some of these knobs have some connectivity issues on the inside, and they could use some cleaning. And because they were quote unquote not very clean on the inside, they had some stickiness to these knobs, meaning they weren't producing the the right results on my DVM. So as an example, just to refresh our memories, when I go to 0, that shows 0, up there is 0 ohms. When I do 1, it shows 1.11, which is okay, but when I wiggle this knob here, it kind of tries to go back to the right value, or sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low. So I'm thinking maybe the cleaning could help this equipment a little bit. So what I did was, as I shared in my previous video, I went to look for this product called DEOXIT D5. It's got some cleaning properties. One of them is this removes oxidation, improves connections, and blah blah blah. I'm more concerned about the improves connections property of this cleaner. This has quite a good positive feedback on Amazon and other sources, and I thought I'd give this a shot myself and see if this helps improve the performance of this gear. So let's maybe get going here. I'll open this box up and we'll start to spray this on some of the knobs here on the inside and see if it improves any bit at all. Again, I'm hoping this will help, but I don't know. So I'm going to give it a shot and see how this works. I'll be right back. Okay, so the way you open this box is there are 4 screws hidden behind these the feet here, and same on the other side. Let's see if I can get you that view here. And so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, I believe, and I believe this should kind of slide out once I unscrew these screws. So let me do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so I unscrewed the feet here, so this should hopefully just slide out like that quite easily. As you can tell, it comes out quite easily, no problems whatsoever, and there's nothing going on in there. So I'm going to set this aside for now. And so what I've done here is I connected my digital meter to the connectors in the back here on the front. And as you can tell, like I mentioned in my video number 1, this resembles like the old school rheostat we used to have in our physics labs many years ago. And then if you look in let's see if I can get this somehow. I'm gonna scoot this a little bit and see if I can zoom in. So that's the lowest denominator in this resistor, DECADE resistor. So as you can tell, let me see if I can get even closer, I hope. You see how those thin wires or film of wires are used to create that resistance values. For 0.1 ohm steps, you don't need anything major to control the flow of current. So I think that's a pretty nifty way of doing that. But of course, the rest of them go through these. They use these. They look like ceramic plates, and they utilize copper wires to kind of get to wound them, and wound them around the ceramic type of a material to create that resistance. Any case, so my goal is really to go in here and use some of this DEOXIT in there and see if that's going to help me resolve this connection issues like I described earlier. I'm hoping that it will, but I don't know for sure. So I'm going to give that a shot. My digital meter is obviously outside of the frame here, but I'm hoping that when I do this, that it will help. So I'm going to go in there and I'm going to spray. So if you look in here, let me see if I can get a closer look. Okay, so I'm hoping this will get us a better view here. So one thing I want to call out is how these knobs operate. So if you look in these, in this section here, when I turn this knob, see that base plate rotates and then meets with these corresponding kind of grooves and locks it in place, so it makes or supposed to make a connection. When you rotate, it goes to the next one, rotate again, it goes to the next one, so on and so forth. Now, because these are mechanical connectors, if those surfaces are not clean enough, that would impede how the values show up in your meter. So my goal is to kind of clean that area and see if I can spray some of this in that area and then rotate this knob a few times. So I'm going to do that now. Let's see how that works. I want to be careful not to touch these film of wires, because any little damage to those will cause major value, have implications on the value. So I want to be careful. So maybe I should come around like so. There we go. And let's see if I can turn that. So I'm hoping that will see if I can put some in here. I'm not sure if it needs any in the back there. I highly doubt, but I'm gonna try and see if, let me see if I can get some extra light here. Like in there somewhere. I don't know. I'm not seeing anything major going on with the difference here. I wonder, I think it needs to dry a little, because obviously we sprayed some liquid in there. I think I'm assuming this is made of some sort of an alcohol type of a material, and I'm hoping that it'll kind of dry over time. Maybe, I'm not sure what it's made of. So let's see. All right. I'm going to let it sit before I spray the others. I want to make sure I let this sit for some time, and I'll be right back. Okay, so while it's drying, I thought I'd do a little bit of a closer shot of this switch here. You can tell there's still some kind of a moisture there in that wiper blade, and as it passes through, it goes through this like a groove, a metal groove, and then makes contact. And if those contacts are not quite clean, you are bound to get wrong readings. Any case, so I'll let this kind of sit for a while, and I'll come back and see if that made any major difference. I'm hoping it does. I've never tried this product, the DEOXIT D5. I'm definitely hoping this will be a good test for it. All right, I'll be right back. All right, so one of the ideas was to maybe take a sort of a Q-tip, and you don't want to leave any residue from the Q-tip on the wiper or on any of these contacts. You want to be careful. But I'm just trying to see if I can wipe off any dirt that may have collected over the course of time. I don't see much dirt, so although I do see some dirt in there a little bit. I want to be careful not to touch anything that I'm not supposed to, in the sense I want to be careful not to leave any threads of this cotton in there, because that won't be good for the reading. So I do see some dirt actually. This reminds me of when we back in the 80s, when we used to clean our cassette decks, the magnetic the head in the cassette deck, when you clean them, kind of reminds me of those good old days. Any case, so I want to be careful. I'm not sure if I left anything in there. I do see some remnant, which won't be good if I left that in there. Okay. This Q-tip is not really absorbing much. All right. This is easier to clean, this side, but the rest of them, let me show you what I mean. The rest of them are kind of challenging. It's hard to get through this one. This same thing with these others. All right, let me get this cleaned up and I'll be right back. Okay, there's one other area I believe I need to clean. If you look in, this is what we cleaned in the on the front or the back end of the knob. But I believe if you look inside, there's a similar setup going on the inside of these knobs. So I need to run a spray on all of them on the front side also. So let me do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so I just let it sit like that, and then I went through each of these knobs back and forth a few times. I'm seeing some improvement as I'm doing this. I'm also watching my DVM and I'm sensing there's some improvement for sure. I'm not sure how good, but in any case, I'm gonna let this go for a few minutes here, and I'll come back with a final verdict on what I have found from this experiment here. Okay, so I let this dry for about half hour 45 here, and I'm gonna do a quick test. I did do a quick dry run earlier. Seems like it has definitely improved from where it was before the cleaning. Any case, so the device is now hooked up to the DVM, and I'll try to capture both this and that as much as I can. My camera's tripod holder kind of gave up on me, so I'm doing this with my handheld right now. Alright, so I got the 0. This is the lowest denominator, and then it goes up. Alright, so this is the 0.1 ohms. So I'm gonna try to see if I can change this, and keep an eye on that guy there. That's the readout. So I'm gonna see if I can do it like so. So I'm gonna change this to 0.1, and as you can tell, it shows 0.1. I believe this was always accurate even before the cleaning, so I'm not too surprised about that, but I'm also glad that it did not change for the worse, so that's good. 2 ohms, 0.2 ohms, 0.2, quite accurate, 0.3, accurate, 4 looks good, 5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, 1. That's perfect, because I don't know if you recall from my previous video, that lower end had some difficulty to maintain the accuracy, so I'm very glad that this cleaning with this D5 seems to have at least helped with that. Let's see if I can move on to the second level here. This is the 1 ohm step. So I'm gonna switch this guy back to 0. So we have a clean slate in there. And let's see if I can get this any closer. So that's 0 ohm, right? That's 1 ohm. It's accurate. 2 ohms, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right on the money, so that's looking pretty good. This level also had difficulty with accuracy, so I'm glad this is resolved. So I'll switch that back to 0. Let's move on to 10 ohm level. Let's see how this shapes up. Ten ohms, 20. As you can tell, it's quite accurate. 30, 40, 50 ohms. Yeah, that's a little off. I'm not sure. Oh. 50. Yeah, that's off by 0.01. 60. Maybe that needs a little bit more D5. Alright, 60. Actually, you know what? I'm going to make a note of this so I don't forget. Give me a second. Okay, so I actually did end up spraying a little bit on that number 6 spot, and looks like that helped a little bit. But let's see if we can actually hang on. 60 ohms. Hang on. 60 ohms. 70. That's good. 80. 90 ohms. 100 ohms. That's looking pretty good. So very glad. This one also had some issues like we saw earlier with the 60 ohm, but that seems to have been resolved. Man, I'm liking this product. That's good. Alright, let's switch this to 0. Let's move on to the next level, 100 ohms. Okay, let's see if I can okay, that's probably good. 100 ohms. 100 ohms. See, that's off a little bit. That's shooting over a little bit. 300. 400. 500. So it looks like 100 ohms was under with a delta of 0.01, and these rest of them have overshoot of 0.02 approximately. 600 ohms, 700 ohms, 800 ohms. Well, that switched here, like I showed in the previous video, it changed the range to 6K. So that's the reason why you see 0.8K. Alright, 800 ohms. Okay. 900, it's a little off. So it's a little off with 100 ohms. Rather 1K, sorry. Alright, so let me do this. I'm going to spray a little bit of D5 in this area, and I'll be right back. Alright, let's see how this works. I sprayed a little bit of D5 on that, on this one here. So let's go through. I don't expect this to change dramatically because I need to let this dry a little bit, like I did with the others. So let's see if okay, you know what? I'm gonna let this dry because it's unfair to do the test while I just sprayed here. So let's move on to 1K step here. 1K, it's a little bit over. 2K, 3K, 4K, 5K, 6K, 7K, 8. Wow, 8 is looking good. 9K is looking good. 10K is looking good. Okay, so this might need some cleaning or a little bit extra D5 also. I'll take care of that off camera, but let's move on to the next one. 10K, 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 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 7. That's a little bit off there. 70. Let's see. Oh, hang on. 80. 80 is looking good. 90. 100K. Very nice. So that's good relatively compared to others. So these two need a little bit more. Let's move on to the 100K steps here. So we got, let's see if I can gather 100K, 100K, off a little, 200K, 200K, all right, 300K, that's okay, 400, 500, 600, 7, 8. Again, it changed the range to 6 megs, so hence the reason why it shows 0.8 megs. That's normal. 900. That looks good. And this would be 1 meg. Perfect. All right, so I'll do around this and on this one, and hopefully that'll take care of it. Anyways, overall, the verdict is this is looking pretty good. I'm really impressed with this product. It seems to have helped quite a bit in some of these problem knobs here. But I think I'll let this dry. I'll spray this on the 10K, rather the 1K, the 10K knobs, and maybe a little bit on the 100K in some areas. Let it dry for another 45 minutes or so, and then we should call it done. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, and this is definitely interesting to me. So thanks so much for watching. We'll talk soon. God bless.